Chapter 7. Duryodhana's Jealousy. Dhritarashtra had 100 sons called the Kauravas. The eldest was Duryodhana. Duryodhana all this time had assumed that him and his brothers would rule the kingdom when they got older. But now that the Pandavas came back, it was the first time that panic set in Duryodhana's mind, since Pandu used to rule the kingdom before he left for the forest, and his sons would naturally assume to inherit the kingdom. What if the Pandavas claimed the throne? He thought. What would happen to me and my brothers? Their father, Dhritarashtra, was blind and may not be strong enough to stand up for his children. The elders, like Bhishma and Vidura, had a soft corner for the Pandavas as they had lost their father. In the beginning, Duryodhana was just worried. As time passed, seeing the innate skill and abilities of the Pandavas and the favoritism dished out to them, Duryodhana grew more and more jealous. His anxiety turned into jealousy, which bred tremendous hatred. He wanted the Pandavas out of his way. He felt that the Kauravas were the rightful heir to the kingdom. The feeling of entitlement is not uncommon. It is something that we all experience. Let us understand this feeling a little better. Most of us feel that our lifestyle is somehow our right, that somehow we deserve it. Some deeper thinking and reflection is warranted here. What have we really done to deserve our lifestyle? You may say, well, I studied hard and I went to a good college. I got a good job and made a lot of money. Let us go further back to when we were teenagers. Well, some of you may still be teenagers. To get a good job or to go to a good college, we must have studied in a good school. We must have experienced a stable upbringing. Was it not our parents who provided this lifestyle to us? Who sent us to good schools? Who bought our books? Who put us in swimming, skating, and horse riding classes? Who gave us our own room where we enjoy privacy and freedom of expression? Who feed us every day? As teenagers and young adults, the many things that we enjoy in life were never really things we achieved. They are all gifts. The iPhones, iPads, television, and vacations that we enjoy are taken for granted. All of them have fallen into our laps merely because we were born in an affluent family. That is the only reason. Remember the servants we have had? Remember the people who clean our clothes or cut the grass or work as nannies? We could have been born as their children and may experience only half the wealth that we enjoy today. Worse still, we could have been born in a society or country which is entirely poor. We may have had to live in a house that had only one room and food only once a day. In fact, even the ability to listen to this recording is a gift that we did not earn. Of the 7 billion people in this planet, only 2.3 billion or 35% have access to the internet. The figures are even worse when you consider Indians or India. Only 100 million or 10% of the entire Indian population has access to the internet. Here is another statistic. Only 1 billion people in the world can speak and understand English. In other words, only 1 out of every 7 people in this world can even understand these words that you are hearing. Our only achievement was to have been born in a family which was able to afford our lifestyle. And even this is not an achievement. It is just chance. It is destiny. In other words, this is karma. Like Duryodhana, we all feel entitled to the benefits we have. Like Duryodhana, we develop a hatred, jealousy, and anxiety when there is a threat to any of the facilities that we have today. The Pandavas grew up in the forest. They grew up in a hard-fought lifestyle and learned their skills, the Vedas, and their virtues from sages and rishis. They grew up not experiencing too many conveniences that are generally available in a king's palace. They ate simple food. They grew up believing that whatever they get is a gift and never to ask for more. The Pandavas grew up with high and lofty moral values. And they had Yudhishthira as their eldest brother, who, as Lord Dharma's son, was filled with righteousness in his soul. So, when the Pandavas came to Hastinapura, they were grateful for the gift of conveniences they now received. They were thankful for the tutelage under Bhishma and later Kripacharya. They were respectful of their possessions they were now given and treated everyone with humility. They were also diligent in their schooling and education. They were content with what they had and grateful for anything extra they received. When we see someone truly happy and content in life, we all feel a little jealous of them. Duryodhana felt the same. He saw the Pandavas as a threat. He was jealous of them. He hated them. For example, he hated Bhima, who was naturally very strong. Bhima, being a young kid, would play with the Kauravas. Being incredibly strong, he would uproot trees and throw them on the Kauravas. He would bully them, just as any strong kids do in school. The Kauravas hated him. On one occasion, Duryodhana poisoned Bhima's food and tied him in creepers and rope and threw him in the river. There were poisonous snakes at the bed of the river, and these poisonous snakes bit Bhima. Fortunately, the poisonous food that Bhima ate and the poison from the snakes that bit him counterbalanced in his body, and he recovered. He regained consciousness and swam out of the river. On account of the different poisons that counterbalanced in Bhima's body, Bhima became doubly stronger, and Duryodhana hated him even more. Vidura, Bhishma, Kripacharya, and all the elders noticed this hatred Duryodhana and his brothers felt for their cousins. They counseled Dhritarashtra that such feelings must be nipped in the bud, and Dhritarashtra on many occasions had a chat with his eldest son Duryodhana. However, Duryodhana was adamant. He was highly opinionated and fixated on his feelings. He would not listen to his father's words of wisdom. And Dhritarashtra was weak for the love he had for his children. He did not reprimand or scold them. Thus, Duryodhana let the feeling of hatred grow in his heart, and his father Dhritarashtra simply gave up on counseling him. As we will see later, bad feelings and bad habits cultivated at a young age will not suddenly go away when you grow older. Unfortunately, when we are young, we may not know which habits are bad for a righteous life. So it is imperative that we take the advice of sound judgment from our parents and teachers. It is unfortunate that we only see our parents as those who feed and shelter us, and only see our teachers in school as those who teach math and physics. We seldom see them as teachers of life. If we realize the importance of taking their lessons and advice a little more seriously, we will have greater strength in dealing with tough situations when we grow up. Attitudes become habits. The attitude of Pandavas of being grateful and humble became habits of living righteously and truthfully. The attitude of Kauravas and Duryodhana of entitlement became habits of jealousy and hatred. Attitudes, good or bad, become habits. Once they are shaped, they become us and we become them.